There you are, right on time, right where the noise can't reach you, but you can still hear it screaming. Do you feel that? That pressure? That invisible tension crawling under your skin like static before a storm? That's them. Yeah, them. Losing their minds because you didn't reply, not because you couldn't, not because you didn't see it, but because you chose not to. And that tiny, silent decision, that's where the shift happened. That's where you stopped being predictable and started becoming dangerous. See, people don't fear noise. They don't fear chaos. They live in chaos. They scroll it, breathe it, drown in it every single day. But silence? Silence is unnatural. Silence is where imagination turns against them. Silence is where they start writing stories about you. Stories you didn't approve. Stories you didn't even hint at. But now they believe them. You didn't respond. So now they're responding for you. They're guessing your tone, decoding your absence, replaying your last message like it's evidence in a trial that never ends. And the more you stay quiet, the louder they get. Isn't that funny? You did nothing, and somehow you became everything. That's the paradox they'll never admit out loud, because they were trained, conditioned to believe power is loud, visible, constant. That if you're important, you respond fast. That if you care, you explain yourself. That if you exist, you perform. But you broke the pattern. You stepped out of the script. And now they don't know how to read you anymore. And when people can't read you, they start fearing you. Because now you exist in two places at once. You're the saint they remember. The one who used to reply, who used to show up, who used to care, and the psychopath they can't predict anymore. The one who watches the phone light up and lets it die. The one who sees the message and lets it rot. The one who understands something they don't. Attention is currency, and silence is inflation. Every second you don't reply, your value rises in their mind. Not because you asked for it, but because they can't access you. Scarcity creates obsession, and obsession is where control flips. Now they're checking your status. Now they're rereading old conversations. Now they're wondering if they said too much, or not enough, or the wrong thing entirely. You didn't attack them. You didn't argue. You didn't defend. You just disappeared. And somehow, that hurt more than anything you could have said. Because words can be fought. Silence can't be touched. It lingers. It echoes. It mutates. It turns you into a question they can't answer. And humans, they hate unanswered questions. That's why they're spiraling right now. That's why your name is being whispered in rooms you're not in. That's why your absence feels louder than their presence. Because deep down, beneath the ego, beneath the noise, beneath the fake control, they know you're not ignoring them out of weakness. You're doing it because you evolved. Pain taught you that, didn't it? All those times you replied too fast, cared too much, gave too much access, explained yourself until you were empty. Yeah, they remember that version of you. But that version died quietly. No funeral, no announcement, just a slow, deliberate transformation into something colder, sharper, harder to reach. Now you're not reacting, you're observing, you're not chasing, you're positioning, you're not explaining, you're letting them guess. And guesswork is torture for people who need certainty. You became unpredictable, and unpredictability is power. Because when they don't know what you'll do next, they start hesitating, they start overthinking, they start losing control. And control, Oh, control is their addiction. But you broke the supply. Now they're withdrawing. Now they're shaking, refreshing, checking, typing, deleting, typing again. All while you sit there, calm, untouched, watching the storm you created without lifting a finger. Do you see it yet? This isn't about a message. This isn't about a reply. This is about identity. You're no longer the person they had figured out. You're the contradiction now. The angel who learned how to disappear like a demon. The calm face with a violent silence behind it. The presence that doesn't need to prove itself anymore. And that terrifies them. Because if you can ignore them, what else can you walk away from? If you can resist responding, what else are you capable of controlling? They don't just fear your silence, they fear what it means. That you're no longer hooked, no longer reactive, no longer easy to pull back into their orbit. You slipped out, and now they're reaching, and getting nothing. Just emptiness, just that cold, quiet wall you built out of every lesson they forced you to learn the hard way. So let them panic, let them wonder, let them create entire narratives just to cope with the fact that you didn't respond. Because every second you stay silent, you're reminding them of something they'll never say out loud. They don't control you anymore. And that realization, that's the kind of noise that keeps people awake at night. And now it's gotten worse, hasn't it? You can feel the shift. At first it was curiosity, then confusion. Now it's obsession wrapped in anxiety, dressed up as indifference. They're trying to act like it doesn't bother them. Posting, laughing, distracting themselves with noise. But every few minutes, their mind snaps back to you. Back to that unanswered message. Back to that moment you broke the pattern. Because something inside them knows this isn't the same game anymore. You didn't just ignore them. You changed the rules without telling anyone. And people lose their minds when the rules change mid-game. Because now everything they thought they knew about you is useless. Every past reaction, invalid. Every expectation, dead. Every assumption, collapsing in real time. You became a glitch in their system, and glitches don't get ignored. They get studied, obsessed over, feared. They're dissecting your silence like it's a hidden message. Maybe they're busy. No, they saw it. Maybe they're upset. Or maybe they don't care anymore. That last one, that one hits like a knife they didn't see coming. Because if you don't care, then they lost control. And if they lost control, then everything they built in their mind about their importance in your life, gone. Just gone. Do you understand the weight of that? You didn't scream, you didn't argue, you didn't prove a point. You simply removed your energy, and suddenly, they're collapsing under the absence of it. That's power they can't comprehend, because they were raised on reactions, conditioned to believe that attention equals existence, that if someone doesn't respond, they're losing. But you flipped it. You showed them that not responding is the response. A louder one, a colder one, a final one. And now they're stuck in a loop. Checking, waiting, rechecking, pretending not to care, then checking again. They even start bargaining with themselves. Maybe I'll text again. No, that'll look desperate. But what if they forgot? But what if they didn't? And just like that, you turned them into the version of you they used to take for granted. Isn't that poetic? The one who used to wait is now the one being waited on. The one who used to explain is now the one being explained about. The one who used to chase is now the one being chased by thoughts that won't shut up. You didn't win by doing more. You won by doing less. That's the part that breaks them, because it means all their effort, all their noise, all their attempts to regain control mean nothing. You're not playing anymore. And when one player leaves the game, the other one starts questioning why they were playing in the first place. Now they're trying to provoke you. Little things, subtle moves, stories posted at just the right time, messages designed to get a reaction, energy thrown into the void, hoping you'll break, but you don't. And every time you don't, they spiral deeper. Because now it's not just about getting a reply. Now it's about proving they still matter to you. And the longer you stay silent, the more that question eats them alive. Do I still exist in their world? That's the real fear, not losing you, losing their place in your mind. Because once that's gone, they can't reach you anymore. Not emotionally, not psychologically, not at all. And that's when the masks start slipping. The calm facade cracks. The I don't care act fades. And what's underneath? Raw need, raw confusion, raw panic, all triggered by your silence. You became a mirror they can't look away from. Because in your absence they see themselves, their dependency, their insecurity, their need for validation. They thought they had under control. You exposed it without saying a word, and that's what makes you terrifying now. Not because you're loud, not because you're aggressive, but because you mastered something almost no one dares to master: restraint. The ability to feel everything and still choose nothing. That's not weakness. That's discipline forged in pain. Because don't get it twisted. This silence didn't come easy. It was built, layer by layer, message by message you wish you didn't send. Moment by moment you gave too much of yourself. Time after time you were available, predictable, readable. Until one day, you saw it, the pattern, the imbalance, the quiet disrespect hidden inside familiarity. And something in you snapped. Not loudly, not dramatically, but permanently. You stopped reacting, stopped explaining, stopped giving people access to a version of you that no longer exists. And now you're here. Calm on the outside, but inside, you're something else entirely. A controlled storm, a silent threat, a presence that doesn't need to announce itself anymore. And they feel that. Oh, they feel it. That's why they keep reaching. Even when they pretend they've moved on. Even when they act unbothered. Even when they tell themselves it's not that deep. Because deep down, they know you're not the same, and they don't know how to reach this version of you. So they keep trying, losing their minds, burning energy, chasing a response that may never come. And you just watch, not out of cruelty, but out of clarity. Because you finally understand something that took you too long to learn. Not every message deserves a reply. Not every person deserves access. And not every silence is empty. Some silences, they're loaded, heavy, intentional, final. And yours is deafening.